just making another one of my crystal edge moulds for an order to go out. This one's going out to Sharon in Australia, and it reminded me that somebody had asked me recently what I meant by a pre-domed effect with that surface there. So well, let me show you. It's probably the easiest way. So here we go, a viewer question answered. Let's pour something in this and you'll see what I mean. So some of you may have seen the videos where I was fretting about making these moulds. This is my first prototype, and I don't know if you can see, this is the first mould I made, or rather the mould former, and it's got a very sharp edge around here, and also I was worried about the sharp edge around the very outside. Now, what I did with the very outside is I actually took some of that sharpness out on this one. However, when it came to the next one, and I can't show you it now because there's silicone in there, but I took the creation that came out of this one, domed the top, then I made a mould from that. So it means that you've got like a slight, this is rounded off, you haven't got that sharp edge. So I've now got two versions of this mould, and the one that I sell is the pre-domed one, because I'm a bit concerned about sharp edges. So whilst that looks nice, the domed one has advantages, and as far as I know it is unique out there, whereas there's a few moulds like this out there. So I'll show you what I mean. So here we have our resin mixing up. Now, whatever resin you're using, just make sure it's mixed thoroughly. I mix too quickly, so I get a load of bubbles. But I know this one degasses. It's the Apex High Gloss that I typically use. So all we're going to do is get in a good layer in the bottom. And that will be a dome layer. Obviously, it's epoxy resin, evil stuff. Gloves, respirator, the works. I do have a video on resin safety, but there's one that I found by a professional expert on such matters that I link at the bottom of all my video descriptions. So take a look if you have any doubts about resin safety. Have a look at that one. It's far better than the video that I did, although my video is probably nice and basic. You might like it anyway. Okay, all I'm doing is filling up that bottom layer. I'm just going to tip it around, which will help to give it a nice big surface area so the bubbles will pop out all on their own anyway. But that effectively is your dome layer. So if you think how thick a dome layer would normally be, that's how much you want to be pouring in there. That's it. Right, I've mixed up too much again. Going to go and chuck that in another mould somewhere, and I will see you shortly. Well, let me think. This should have firmed up quite well in about 6 or 7 hours, so I'll be able to put the next layers in after that. So I'll see you for that. It is normally more like a 20-hour cure resin, although I do find, because it's warm in my room, it does cure quicker than that. But yeah, I'll see you in a few hours, and we'll do whatever I've decided to do on the top of this. You'll see what I mean then by that dome effect. Right, see you later. Right, that layer has almost cured. It's still tacky, but it's good enough for what I want to do next. I've mixed up some more resin, and I'm going to decant it into 3 pots plus my original. I hope there's enough here. Never quite know how much to do of each colour. So I'm just going to chuck in some colour into each of these. Now, I'm not going to say this is this technique or that technique. This is just me lobbing stuff in moulds. I'm going to have a go at doing that dotting thing though. As you probably know, I'm not very good at that sort of thing, and I don't try that hard either. Because I would, if I was that bothered, get myself on a course and learn how to do it properly. But, you know, I will at some point. The pigments I am using are Open Water Blue. These are all by Just For You online, by the way. Open Water Blue, pigment paste. These are all pigment pastes. Emerald Green. Giving them a little stir because they do settle. Look how thick they are. When they say paste, they mean it, don't they? Now those should be really quite opaque. You don't need this much, and I've probably put quite a lot there really. Yeah, white shimmer. As you can see, I've used this one an awful lot. There's not much left, and I've got a new tub as well. But let's have just a bit of that. That might take over a bit too much. If I'm still going to want the bright white to show up. Look how white this is. This stuff's fantastic, and how thick it is. Look at that. That's fantastic, isn't it? Now this one does want to be quite opaque, I believe. So let's put quite a bit in. Generally, because these are pigment pastes, you don't need to use as much as you would if it was a powder or something, because they're very, very heavily pigmented. But, let's see. Because I think to do the dotty thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to need that quite opaque. Yeah, that's opaque. Also, I'm going to do something I've never done before, and that is use a piping bag. Now, you see a lot of people doing fancy effects to create what you call them, dragon flowers, fireworks, all sorts of things, and very often they will use piping bags. So it might come as a surprise to you that I have never used one. Anybody who knows me well will know that I will certainly never have used one in a kitchen. As I often say, I can even get a pot noodle wrong. I can boil an egg. I do a demon boiled egg. You think I'm joking, don't you? Luckily Mark can cook. This blue is beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. And the green is very deep, so I don't know how much of each colour is going to come through, but I did put quite a lot of pigment in this, in both of these. Probably far more than necessary, just to make sure we've got a lot of intensity of colour. And I've kept some clear back, of course, as well. Just hope I've got enough of each. So let's go for... See, what I'm hoping is I'm just going to get some sort of something that looks pretty, and then you can see the dome effect on top of it. So I'm going to go in with a bit of clear first around the outer edge, but I am keeping some of that back for a bit of a dump in the middle later. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of this pearlescent white. Incidentally, if anybody wants to see who I consider to be the absolute master of doing these sort of effects properly, Petra Gabrecht. Petra, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Her channel is linked on my homepage. But she's absolutely got it nailed. She does some of the most stunning effects like this I've ever seen. I've seen a few artists do this well, but I think Petra really has set the standard. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just throwing them in, This colour's gorgeous. I'm wishing I'd put a bit more pigment in the green actually, I'm not sure I've put enough really. Anyway, there we are. And then, yes, piping bag. Never have used a piping bag before. I think this is how you do it. Put in something so it doesn't fall over, first of all. Sorry, let me just skew you to the side so you can laugh at how badly I do this. There we are. Okay, so that's going to hold it sort of open. Oh, is that going to be enough white? Let's put a bit more in just in case. I'm not sure. Depends how much white I want to do. Oh, that's going nice. Depends how much white I want to do, I suppose. Okay. And then I think you squidge it down into the tip. Oops, going on its own. That's good, I think. You think you fold it down like this. I really ought to watch some cake making channels actually. That might be useful, mightn't it? Oops. I'm doing this right. And then I think you cut the tip off and you just kind of draw with it. before I do, just going to let that last little bit of blue trickle in there. It's already starting to pull in, isn't it? Wondering if I overdid the white shimmer. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I'm trying to show you this how this doming thing works, aren't I? Why can't I cut with the other hand? I'm kind of a bit ambidextrous with some things, but not cutting apparently. Right, wish me luck. Oops, no, you're not coming out. Oh, you are coming out the end. All right, getting it, boink, boink, boink. You don't need me going boink, do you? That's not helpful. No, okay. Oh, okay, this isn't bad. The result might be, but I'm not finding it too horrible doing this. I think when I've done it before using dots, I've used, well, I know I've used needlepoint bottles and things like that. Maybe the nozzle's a bit too small. People have said you should do bigger dots. Here you are, people, I give you bigger dots. Okay, so I have mixed up plenty. Interesting to see how that white shimmer behaves in the outer edges of the sparkle, the crystal. Are these dots way too big now? I'm sure they are. Do I leave it just at dots? I've got plenty left. Oh, don't use it up just for the sake of using it up, Trace. Now, have I got enough? Clear mixed up is the question. I might mix just a tiny bit more. Yes, I must get to learn how to do this properly at some point. Right, now, last time I tried this, people said I didn't dump it fiercely enough in the middle, so dump. And that wasn't in the middle at all. So that's going to go all over the place. And that is why in the past I've done it more carefully. That takes a bit of practice, I'm guessing. Right, that is now right up to the brim of the mould. So I am going to leave that now. Last little dribble I've got in these cups, I'm going to probably chuck them all in together and put them in something, I don't know what, a jewellery mould of some sort. Okay, I will see you for the demould. Right, I got impatient, and once it all started moving, I shoved it in my little drying doobry thing. You know what I mean. Anyway, my little curing machine. So it's only been 5 hours. Is it even that? Might be less than that actually. I only let it run once, and then I let it cool down, so it might be more like 4 hours. Anyway, let's have a look. It's demoulding okay, and the back looks like he's done something interesting. God knows what the front looks like. Let's see. Oh, it's gone pretty. Yeah, it's gone a bit mad. I think I did go a bit mad with the white. The dots kind of worked. I don't know, it's very pretty. Whatever it's doing, it looks like ice, doesn't it? Anyway, the purpose of this was to show you the dome effect on the surface. Can you see? That's already got the smoothed off top, and it's already got that glossy layer between the surface and the colour underneath, which makes all the sparkle pop. So if you needed an explanation on what the difference is with this one that's got the version that's got the pre-domed top, can you let me just catch in the light there, is that working? Yeah, there is your explanation. So I kind of like how this turned out, even if it's a bit it's gone a bit mad in places. I still kind of like it. Anyway, there you go. So aside from whether you like the creation or not, there is my explanation of the mould and why it's that little bit different to the other crystal edge ones out there. As far as I know. If you know different, let me know. But it was just something that I kind of wanted for myself, so I did. And that's part of the reason it took me so darned long to come up with it, because that was not the easiest creation. Anyway, there you go, folks. I hope that's answered the question. If you didn't have that question, I hope it was interesting anyway. And for those of you who were asking me that question, there you go. There's your answer. I hope you can see what I'm talking about. I'll take some close-up photos anyway. Alright then, folks, I'll see you for the next video. Bye!